All right, I am back with a video that I'm sure will get me yelled at because it is about console war stuff. Taking a bit of a break from Destiny today because I wanted to go a little bit deeper into what's going on with Microsoft and Xbox lately, as it's not great. This is sparked by what happened yesterday. Obviously, Bethesda announced that they were delaying both Redfall and Starfield to, quote, early 2023. Redfall is the arcane vampire hunting four-player co-op game that supposedly is like something like Borderlands, like there's loot and stuff, but we haven't seen any actual gameplay from it. We've just seen a cinematic trailer. I've seen some like leaked footage that looked like trash, but I think that was an early build, so it's hard to judge, but apparently it needs more time. Starfield is a little bit surprising. Well, it is standard for any big AAA game to be delayed at least once, pretty majorly. Bethesda really went all in on this extremely specific 11/11/22 release date from the moment the game was announced. Jason Schreier was talking about how he heard from people at Bethesda that they were worried it was going to be another Cyberpunk because they had committed to that date and it was not at all going to be ready then. So they're going to get an extra couple of months, whatever it's going to be, and we'll see what the final result is, but that pushes it out of the holiday release window. This caused Phil Spencer to tweet a little icily, I think. You don't really see Phil Spencer actually kind of tweet at this level. I should have this pulled up here, but his tone caught me a little off guard here because like you don't hear Phil be like this. So Phil says, he's retweeting the announcement, and he says, "These decisions are hard on teams making the games and our fans. While I fully support giving teams time to release these great games when they are ready, we hear the feedback. Delivering quality and consistency is expected. We will continue to work better to meet those expectations." So, I don't know, just phrasing that like, well, I believe in giving studios more time, like, we get that this sucks. And the reason this sucks is because this creates a situation where in the first 2+ years of the Xbox Series XS release, we are in very close to the same situation we are in with Xbox One. Not in terms of hardware, I said this in my article, but like, yeah, we don't have some Kinect albatross hanging around the neck of the system. There's no controversy about, that. We did recently run into a kind of DRM moment about how no one could play their Xbox games because their like authentication servers were down, which was very annoying. But generally speaking, yes, the Xbox X and S are better consoles, and Xbox Game Pass is certainly a thing that is great and that has seen a lot of success. But in terms of first-party releases, once again, we just have Sony beating Microsoft again. Starting with the release window, Microsoft essentially had no big games to release at launch because they had to delay Halo Infinite for an entire year. Sony, meanwhile, had Demon's Souls and Miles Morales. 2021... Sony had a bunch of hits: Ratchet & Clank, Returnal, Deathloop, which is ironically a Bethesda game, and now creates a situation where Sony has published more Bethesda games than Microsoft after this delay. Microsoft did finally get some games out that year. They had Forza Horizon 5, where Forza Horizon games are always great. That was true of the Xbox One era, and that, even though it's kind of ignored at the end of the the Game of the Year conversations, it was a good game, well reviewed. And then Halo Infinite came, and that has been just a Pandora's box of controversy where it actually launched strong, had a lot of players on Game Pass because it was available there for the first time for free. Most reviewers liked the campaign. I did not like the campaign. I was one of the few that did not really love it. But I did like the fundamentals of multiplayer a lot. The early launch of the multiplayer was really fun. It seemed like they had gotten that formula down. What they did not get down was the live service aspect of how to run a multiplayer game in 2022. And they're having these 2 sprawling 6-month seasons now that are running through all of this year, and season 3 of it at the end of this year. But they have not figured out a progression system that works yet. They have not figured out microtransactions really. They are adding very minimal new content. They have delayed so many features. Like it's going to be over a year since launch. There's still no campaign co-op. That's not coming until the end of summer, if then. Forge is delayed. Like, Halo Infinite has not exactly been an unqualified success story past the very initial launch there, and they've struggled with that a lot. Now in 2022, Microsoft essentially has no major games releasing. None. They have some games that have been good. Tunic is a really good game that's a smaller scale game that everyone should play. That's like a tribute to kind of old Zelda games. We could see something like Scorn out by the end of the year. I think Soccer 2 is supposed to be an Xbox exclusive, but that's Ukraine. That's not going to happen. Whereas Sony at least got Horizon Forbidden West out after that was delayed from the previous year. And they say they're going to get God of War Ragnarok out this year, though I am deeply skeptical about that. So that creates a situation where Microsoft has had no releases for 2 years past Forza and then past Halo, which has been kind of a mixed bag and has not really satisfied most people, shall we say, with the current state of that franchise. A lot of good stuff is coming, and yet it's still stuff I'm kind of skeptical about. We've heard rumblings about how the Initiative is like lost half the members of its studio. It's supposed to be this like quadruple A super studio making the new Perfect Dark game. Microsoft has brought in Crystal Dynamics to help them with that game. Who knows what's going to happen with that? We have not heard anything about things like Fable. That game, we have no idea what's going on with there. The news that they were worried about Starfield being another Cyberpunk makes me wonder what state that game will launch in. Because, I mean, even if, Bethesda's generally been good about not doing like super long delays and stuff, but Bethesda also tends to launch games with a lot of bugs. And if those are like bad to the point of being like outrageously bad, that could be not great. I mean, I generally have very high hopes for Starfield because if it's another kind of mainline Bethesda game, those generally speaking end up being great. The difference between the Xbox One era and now is at least we have all these studios set up to release stuff in the future. It's just that the future keeps being kind of pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. One thing I didn't really get to in my article is stuff kind of outside the gaming realm that is not really going well in the whole Microsoft versus Sony situation either. Evie's barking something. This is maybe a little petty, but like in terms of just pop culture, Sony had the Uncharted movie come out, and that it didn't like review very well, and yet it went on to become the highest grossing video game movie ever made, I think. I don't know if Sonic 2 beat it or not. I don't think it did, but did very well. Definitely going to get a sequel. It was a new franchise for them. Whereas Microsoft has the Halo show, where Master Chief just had sex with an enemy spy as Cortana watched. And that's how that's going. That has not exactly been the boon to Halo's influence that I think they were hoping for. And we know that 343 is very intimately involved in the creation of that show. It is a hit in terms of a lot of people are watching it on, for Paramount Plus. I think it is Paramount Plus's most popular show, and it's getting a season 2. But that has not been great, I think, if you ask most Halo fans. And then Sony is getting their Last of Us show on HBO, which I have high hopes for, given the cast, given that it's HBO. So we'll see how that goes. In terms of console sales, everything is kind of weird because everything's sold out a lot. But as more time goes on, we're kind of seeing a separation where Sony PS5s are still instantly selling out anytime they come up. Like it's still ridiculously hard to find them. Sony's missing all their sales goals and stuff, but literally just because they can't make enough. Whereas Xbox, you're starting to see at least Series S is kind of left on the shelf. The shortages aren't nearly as prevalent. Series X maybe, but Series S, well, that has given Microsoft a boost in terms of having things to actually sell. Those are not really flying off the shelves at the same rates as other consoles. So the longer this goes on, like Sony is still very much going to be winning this console generation. Like even with all the improvements that we have seen with the Series X and Series S, that is going to be true once supply can finally even come close to meeting demand, and we are already starting to see that separation if you are kind of paying attention here. Lately, I have been accused of being a Sony fanboy, which is hilarious because I've been saying a lot of negative things about Xbox, kind of based on everything I just said here, and which is ironic because I spent the first year like really, really extolling the virtues of the Series X. I really fundamentally like the Series X as a console better than PS5. There's no copying phase. I like the UI more. I think Sony made a lot of stupid changes or didn't change enough things with the PS5. Just a lot of small things add up for me. I still think Xbox Game Pass is easily the best value in the industry by far, even with all these delays. And Sony subscriptions and their new platinum level things sound outrageously stupid, and that's bad. But in terms of the overall situation here, I still think Sony has a pretty commanding lead here in terms of game production, in terms of like things being well received, in terms of consistently producing quality. and in terms of not getting off schedule too much. And even through delays, I mean, they've delayed a bunch of their games too, and I expect them to probably delay God of War, but they have had, kind of enough stuff to fill the gaps, and they even have enough, past hits where they can just be like, oh, we're releasing the Ghost of Tsushima Gold Collection or the Uncharted, Diamond Collection, and, everyone's satisfied with that too. So Microsoft is not in the best of spots kind of 2 years in here because of all these delays, even after all these acquisitions that has not borne fruit for them yet. By the end of this console generation, I am very much hoping that it will bear fruit and we won't kind of end this generation the way we started it. But it is definitely taking longer than anyone, including Microsoft, predicted, because they very much said like their new plan was like hit the ground running, gonna have new great games, exclusives out every 3 months, and that has just not happened. And I would only say they have one true big exclusive unqualified hit, which is Forza Horizon 5, and Halo Infinite had a lot of players, but I think we can certainly debate whether or not that is a true hit, kind of based on its ongoing longevity or lack thereof. So that is my take on the whole current situation, and we will see how the debate goes in the comments, but I did want to chime in about that. Hopefully we get a new kind of fixed release date soon. Guessing we're going to hear about God of War soon. Some people swear it's going to come out this year because it was already supposed to be a 2021 game. I'll believe it when I see it, but I guess we'll find out. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later. Take care.